Hi guys, McLaren, that's right, legendary designer of the F1 supercar, is currently conducting ongoing tests to build an electric hypercar. As normal, I will have the link to the original article in the description of my video, but essentially McLaren at this point is developing a testing mule, which is basically a rough and ready sort of concept car at the moment, just to gather feedback from drivers at the moment to see how engaged they are and just how they feel about the technology at the moment. And unfortunately, McLaren's conclusions are that there's still quite a lot of work to be done on the technology going forward, and their biggest challenge so far has, surprise surprise, been battery technology. More specifically, the battery technology at the moment can't cope with the high energy demands of really intense track driving. So essentially when you're sort of pounding a car around a racetrack. To go into more detail, Dan Parry-Williams, who's McLaren's engineering design director, stated that an electric car with a 500-mile range, so, just in day-to-day driving, a 500-mile range and sort of, commuting around town, that car would last only half an hour on a racetrack. I found this super surprising, to be very honest. I mean, I'm no expert on battery technology by any means, being more of a car guy in general, but I did think we were a little bit further than that at the very least. McLaren did state that more investment is definitely needed in energy dense batteries, so I'm assuming this is things like solid state battery technology. I think really this article highlights that we're still really quite a ways off from a truly credible all-round alternative to a gasoline engine car, as controversial as that sounds, but I will explain myself. For example, we've seen massive strides with things like the Tesla Model S, for example, the Model 3 from Tesla as well, Nissan Leaf, and the BMW sort of i3 and i8. And obviously these cars are really good in day-to-day driving, absolutely fine, but as we all know, the market isn't just that. It does extend sort of, slightly more specialist driving for people that like to drive a bit fast on country roads, or even people that like to take their cars out on track days as well. So more development, is definitely needed on energy efficiency to really bring these cars into full-on competition with, gasoline and diesel engine cars. And of course, there will always be that section of consumers that, as we all know, and we've all heard this before, why do you need a hypercar that does 0 to 60 in, 1 second or something ridiculous like that, and has a top speed of 400 miles an hour, whatever? We've all dealt, with that sort of mindset. But I do think, especially from McLaren and these supercar companies, these developments are super important for the electric car industry, primarily because, reason one is just credibility. As I said before, there'll be some drivers that do want to take their car out to Italy or some fancy driving road where they can, safely reach quite a high speed. And these drivers may be a bit disappointed to see that their new BMW i8, drains of battery quite quickly in those conditions. And number two, and this is a factor that some of us may already be aware of, to be very honest, but range topping cars, a good example would be the Nissan GT-R, for example. Range topping cars like that provide a halo effect for a brand and just add a lot of glamour essentially as well. And hypercars just bring that glamour element in absolute spades. And especially, we all know electric cars have, the potential to be incredibly positive for our environment. And I think anything that makes electric cars more desirable and sort of exciting can only be a good thing, as long as they attract more buyers to the industry. Finally, I think, and perhaps the most important point, is track driving. If you have a car that's really reliable in track driving, it's probably going to be reliable in day-to-day driving as well. So in many ways, the track could be considered almost like a crucible or a test bed for making a car more reliable, and could really push some interesting technologies forward, with regards to making a car reliable in many different adverse conditions. So yeah, definite positive points there. So in total, in summary, I'm really looking forward to these developments from McLaren. I do think, you know, there's some really good things on the verge from them. I will definitely make some videos if there are any updates on this, just to let you guys know and keep you guys in the loop, essentially. In the meantime, I'm really interested to know what you guys think about this this piece of news as well. Do you think an electric hypercar would help the industry at the moment, or should we focus on other things? Please feel free, as usual, to let me know about that in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe by clicking sort of that little logo here. It's usually quite close to my face. And I've got another video out on Toyota's new bit of news and development, sort of if you click here, really. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be back soon. Cheers.